Good morning. Welcome into Football Sunday right here on 1080 The Fan, the Odyssey app, 99.5 HD2, YouTube, and Twitch for the kids. I am Joe Fisher. Across the faux marble table is Rashad Taylor.
Yay, yay.
Across the glass is Jordan Schultz. The band is back together for the first time since week 1 of the NFL season, I believe.
That long?
I was out last week. You guys held down the fort last week. I was, as Rashad affectionately likes to say, having a white boy weekend down in Arizona.
Amazing. Just
And
carefree.
And then week before, I believe week 2, we start football Sunday, and then literally week 2 we have to take that week off.
Yeah, no show. Which was
thanks to your Patriots.
I mean, my Patriots. I mean, yeah, it was their fault. But actually, I appreciate my Patriots because I got a chance to go to the beach that weekend, and I haven't been anywhere. You know,
I think it's the coast.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we have an Oregon coast.
I don't know if we
forgive me.
I went to the beach this weekend, bro.
Yeah, we only
shredded some nards.
Yeah, I think that's the black people thing. We only say, yeah, we're going to the beach here in Oregon, but it's definitely a coast.
Whether it's Alaska or Southern California, it's the beach.
I will say
people.
it was absolutely beautiful. So it was something like a beach because on the beach, you know, during the day, and it was relatively warm. Right? It wasn't super, super cold out there. You know, Oregon coast or Oregon beaches can be incredibly
frigid,
freezing in September, but it was a beautiful, beautiful Sunday, Saturday and Sunday. So got a chance to chill at the coast for a couple of days when we didn't have a show. So it was all good.
If it was early September enough this year, I think you got lucky because late August we got warm water. Like we were actually able to swim up in the ocean up at Cannon Beach and Seaside. So
yeah,
kind of felt like it was like a really good year to get to the Oregon coast.
I only get in so far in the
like
the
knees up, knees only,
ankles.
You
know, because hey man, like listen, I have a profound respect for the ocean. Like it's one of those things. Like
it's one of the most powerful forces on this planet.
I just can't mess with it. Like it's one of those things. It can.
We all saw what happened to that Titan submarine. All right.
Yeah, like if they can do that to that submarine, my black ass will be swept away so fast, you know, by that water. So I remember like in elementary school when it'd be like towards the end of the year and get a chance to go to a field trip, and they took us to I think it was Lincoln City. I can't really remember. I think it was Lincoln City though. But they told us that if you went in the ocean, you got to stand sideways just to make sure, you know, you don't get swept up and everything like that. I don't know.
Those sneaker waves, they'll get you.
Yeah, I don't know. My teacher, shout out to Miss McGinty, but she told us to.
I know she's listening right now.
I know she's listening. You know, she's definitely
and she's still
not,
a miss, I'm sure.
Definitely not, but she's definitely still a miss. But but no, it's ever since then. That's how when I get in the water, just make sure I stand sideways. I'm not trying to get swept away. It could be totally fake. I'm pretty sure it is. However, I'm not taking any chances at this point. I've been doing it for about let's say 30 years or so. I don't think now is a good time to start switching stuff up.
And here you are, still standing.
I'm still here. You know,
still
live to still tell the story.
Well, I will say I'm glad that we're here. Glad that we're all back together again. Definitely would be a little bit happier if I was talking to you all at 9:04 a.m.
God, no kidding.
I mean, hey,
especially
man.
after an 8 a.m. kickoff or 8 p.m. kickoff for the Oregon Ducks.
I may or may not have watched the fourth quarter in bed.
I watched the fourth quarter at my dinner table because it was a bright idea. It was a great idea. It worked out very well. I finished with my son's soccer game yesterday. I'm like, all right, let's go to the store. And I was telling Rashad this before the show is that I have a cast iron Dutch oven that I just need to utilize more. And Joey, my son, he's like, let's go to a Mexican restaurant. I'm like, I'm not going somewhere to buy food. I'm making food tonight.
There
and
you
he
go.
wanted Mexican food. I'm like, all right, let's go get a pork
We got
butt.
Mexican food at home. We got McDonald's at home.
Yeah.
That's the thank you, Joe.
We got
I thought that
McDonald's
was
at
only
home.
I thought that was only a black people thing.
Oh no, that was definitely happening
Yeah.
last
Well,
night.
my
I've been
parents-
eating out and just eating like crap lately, so I'm like, I am making something for sure.
Good for you. Smart. I like that you put your foot down on that. You
Yeah.
know, my parents always did try to recreate the Egg McMuffin at home. Never tasted the same.
Well,
Never
you,
tastes the same, but it's still very on point.
Yeah, you
know,
gotta
the
somehow
homemade
make-
Yeah,
McMuffin,
that's
yo.
true.
you got to somehow make that circular egg disc that they have.
Oh, you just got to get an Amazon attachment now. They make.
Oh,
they-
I've seen those.
Yeah.
That or a mason jar lid. You like the ring,
Oh.
the ring of a mason jar lid. You use that and just spray it with some Pam. That's another way. So that way the egg doesn't stick to the metal ring.
Dude, thank you
Yeah,
for the hot cooking tip.
There's a little cooking DIY for
I
you.
actually kind of prefer the home egg sandwich as opposed to the McMuffin.
I think it
I
depends
gotta
on what
be
kind
honest,
of mood
man.
I'm in.
Like
The home
I'm a-
egg sandwich.
I'm a big over easy egg guy.
Yeah.
You know, so a couple pieces of bacon or a piece of sausage, over easy egg. You know,
Get the yolk running down your
Yeah, seriously.
fingers down to your elbows.
absolutely,
making a
man.
mess.
That's the best way. If it, what's the old Carl's Jr. slogan? If it doesn't get all over the place, doesn't belong in
I
your
thought it
face,
was
you know?
F
Yeah,
you,
my
I'm
ex
eating.
girlfriend said that too.
Oh, but
Jeez.
Wait, what? But yeah, last night I was like, you know what? I'm making some damn carnitas.
very good.
I'm making some effing
Oh,
carnitas.
I saw your tweet. Picture
Yeah.
looked good, bro.
Yeah, and so I threw that. I bought a big old pork butt, halved it, so now I got like 3-4 pounds of more pork butt to use, and also. I know it can be also called pork shoulder, but it's much more fun to just call it a
yeah,
pork,
butt. I mean, pork shoulder. It's so professional.
I know. No, pork butt.
Oh, I got to eat that, right?
Yeah, I got it, dude. I got to go in on the
Yeah.
butt. All right. Mark that. But then I threw it in the Dutch oven, got myself all the seasonings, the spices, the chicken broth, the bay leaves, did it all. I went in, got everything I needed, and that went in the oven about 7:30. And that it's got to, as I figured out before the show, the word I was looking for, needs to braise for quite a bit. It needs to be cooking in those juices. And it didn't get done till about 10:30.
Yeah,
when
that's
we were
always-
in the
what time you
second half
started?
of the game. 7:30 is when it got
Oh,
in the
yeah.
oven.
Yeah,
So
A
I
little
was,
late decision
gonna
there.
be a
yeah.
little, yeah.
yeah, no, it was definitely like Joey was just dying for food at one point, and my girlfriend was at my house last night too, and I just kept profusely apologizing to them throughout the night. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, I don't know what I was thinking with this. I was like, it will be great. This is going to be very delicious, but eating at 10:30 at night, it's a good thing that the duck that is the only positive about the Ducks playing that late last night is that I had carnitas tacos to
I
be
saw-
able to eat while watching the end of that game.
I saw very few positives to an 8 o'clock kick. Like that's just rude.
Unless it's
Seriously.
Hawaii playing, that makes
Seriously,
sense. But yeah,
it's just rude. Like that, your entire Saturday night.
the
like if you did
the
have anything-
audacity.
seriously,
of them.
because if you're thinking about it, like as a male or as a football fan, from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m., 7 o'clock on Saturdays, like it's going to be college football
Yep.
all day, right? So if you do have a wife, a girlfriend, or something like that, man, you got from 7 to
Or anybody that you ever want to have sex with again.
7 you got about 7 to about 11 o'clock to where you guys can do the couple thing, go to dinner, or all those little
They
things. or
they,
just-
they get you for the day, right?
here comes punk ass Oregon Ducks on to play at 8 o'clock at night on a Saturday. Like, come on, what the hell, man? Like, so of course my wife is looking at me like, so this is the plan for the night, eh? And I'm like, I mean,
Sorry, babe.
kinda. But then when it was like, by the time it was 28-10 second half or for first half, I'm like, all right, I think we can get active and go
Oh,
do something.
man,
We didn't do anything.
I definitely spoke something into existence at one point that I didn't mean to. It was the commentator curse that I threw on the game last night. It was 28-3, and the Ducks are at like what, the 5-6 yard line.
Oh no.
And I was just like, oh, let's go. I was like, I'm like 35-3 at halftime. I was like, everybody that wanted to go to bed before at halftime, this is exactly what they want. This is
for you.
perfect.
This is
Yeah.
for you.
And then pick six, 28-10. I'm like, ah, damn it.
Now we got to actually watch and see what happens because, that's that O line. Anything can happen. With this Oregon O line. Here and What do you know? They held on to it.
Hey,
Yeah, that was the only touchdown for UCLA was
Hey.
that pick six.
Hey, good for them.
So yeah, let's make sure to never do an 8 p.m. kickoff ever again. It's not going to happen. We'll probably get one next year
You
as
know,
well. But
I got to be honest. So far, this schedule is weird.
it's a very
I'm not loving it.
It's a very weird month. So
I'm
we
not
have the
loving it.
game last night, and then Oregon's got to turn around because then they got a Friday night game coming up against Michigan State.
Yeah, theoretically with the hours, that is a really short
That's a
window.
short-
in
I was
between
saying,
games.
I was saying to the lady last night, I was like, now they're gonna get home. I was like, they're gonna fly home, probably get home tonight at 3 a.m. And then tomorrow is an off day. They'll watch film on this game. They'll start watching Michigan State film, and then they got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to get ready and prepare, and then Friday's game time.
Yeah,
And
thank
then-
God they're at home, right?
Yeah, exactly. So don't have to travel. And then the week after, we all know what the week after is.
Oh yeah. What's
Big
the week after?
Big game. Damn it. It's the Ohio State game.
Come on!
I know. I actually tried to get tickets for that game.
Oh.
That was stupid.
What,
you send-
to
500
even
bucks
look.
a pop?
Yeah,
Did
I
you
was
send the
like-
Ryan Cooley text?
I'm not. I wouldn't.
I don't know if you'll get the. I
There's
think you'll
some
get
texts
the.
like I don't want to be laughed out of the out of the building, so I'm like I'm gonna save that one.
You'll get the read at 10:38 a.m. and no response after that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So
And then the week after that is the Friday night Purdue game in Purdue. So, the Ohio State game, that's going to be one of the only normal kickoff times that we have for the Oregon Ducks in the next basically 3 weeks.
yeah,
But
they
if-
got to figure this thing out.
But if you're thinking, I mean, I agree that the weird late Saturday night kicks suck. But if you're talking about time with the lady on Saturdays and a nice little bonus Saturday or two that your wives get with you or girlfriends get with you during the season, hey, Ducks are playing 2 Friday games, so it helps you out.
I mean, because I don't know about you guys, but Fridays are pretty lit too, and yeah, now the Ducks play on Friday night, so it looks like sorry, babe, Friday we're in the house tonight.
But then you get Saturday, that
And-
all day Saturday.
And that's all day football on Saturday, which they already know the drill for that. That's going to be a lot of me on the couch watching college football and or playing college football. And so there you go. Right?
I am extremely excited for next weekend for my own selfish personal reasons because it seems like there's been something going on the last 2-3 weeks on either Saturday or Sunday where I can't just watch football all day. Last weekend I was in Arizona. I golfed on Saturday in the middle of the USC Michigan game, so trying to keep track of that and also try not to lose my mind on the golf course. I'm down bad in my golf game. I'm gonna have to go back and see my boy Andy at X Golf here soon because it's
Go to the doctor.
yes, it's rough. I need a checkup.
You'd be very proud of your boy, man, because the week that you were gone,
I heard.
yeah,
I went back and I watched the show just a little bit just to see your guys' faces again, and I heard you got some cuts in at Glendoveer.
I did, and
Good for you.
We were supposed to go again yesterday, but it's kind of scheduling, so we might get on the links today. It's going to become a regular thing.
Let's
I think
go.
I'm going to be a golfer.
You're gonna be better than me in no time.
I mean, shoot, man, it's right around the corner. I'm about to go get those Jordan golf shoes.
Ooh.
and
Ah,
we're in the
I got
mix.
I got some Olympic sixes myself.
Do you really?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I saw that they had
It's,
some.
cl- it's
I-
clean.
I'm currently wearing the Jordan 12s, and I saw they have some of
They
those
have,
in the
yeah.
golf shoes. I'm like, oh, that's the one I want.
My buddy's got a pair of those. So yeah, last week was going down. The week before, week 2, I felt like there was something else happening. And then yesterday, as 4:30 comes around, which was 2 of the biggest games in college football. You had Bama, Georgia, and then you had Penn State, Illinois, 2 undefeated Big Ten teams. 4:30, that is also my son's soccer game kickoff. So I was
sorry, son.
Is that why no one was watching the pregame show on YouTube? Because not only was everybody watching Alabama v. Georgia, but they were also at their kids' sporting events at
Possibly.
4:30 on a Saturday.
Yeah,
Possibly.
4:30 I mean, you're talking soccer, you're talking Pop Warner
Football.
football,
That's
you're talking
peak time.
AAU basketball.
Oh, I was
there's a
locked
lot-
in on
a lot
a-
going in on Saturdays now.
I was locked in on the Newburgh Grant 7th, 8th grade football game on the field adjacent to us. I
Yeah.
mean, it was nonstop action in Newburgh yesterday. So there was that.
Go Generals.
And then today at 12:30, my son has another soccer game. And I said to him last night, I was like, your game is right in the middle or basically right at the start of the witching hour, dude. When wins become wins and losses become losses.
Yeah.
Like, who is doing the scheduling for your team? It's
Somebody clearly not a football fan.
I was very proud of my son last night, though, because, again, I was with him, the lady, last night, and I said to him, I was like, dude, your game starts tomorrow right when the witching hour starts. My girlfriend's like, the witching hour? And my son just jumps in perfectly. He's like, when wins become wins and losses become losses. I was like,
yeah, it's
Love
my
you,
boy.
that's my
Never been so proud, right?
Yeah, exactly.
it.
Exactly. All right. Well, let's get going. We have so much football to talk about. Again, we haven't been together, all three of us, since week 1.
Yeah, this is like our own witching hour.
Yes, exactly. We're gonna get a win. This will turn into a win of a broadcast.
I believe so. I think we're already winning.
You can text into the show 503-864-6326. I had to remember what the number was for a second. I was like, wait, it's been so long. Vancouver Ford text line. We're going to jump right into this Ducks game, but we're going to get into looking at the top 25. There was a bit of a shakeup. Just recap all the games. We're going to look at the NFL season so far. What are some of the biggest surprises to all of us to start this NFL season? And we're also going to do some previewing. I think week 1 I said, on these 9 a.m. starts, we're going to go into NFL first, so that way we can have the first hour to preview the 10 a.m. and just get going in NFL, and then go Ducks, Beavers, college football in the second hour. But because of this 8 a.m. start, I feel like it's only appropriate to just start with the college football,
I think we got time.
Oregon Ducks. Yeah, and then at the 9 a.m., we'll go into the NFL. And start
Today we got
previewing
time,
that.
cuz.
Yes. Yeah.
And plus,
Yeah.
there's like no Beaver game to talk about. Bye
That's
week
true.
for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, weird one.
Beavers got the week off as well. So we will get right into this Oregon Ducks victory against the UCLA Bruins last night down in LA. Football Sunday, Joe Fisher, Rashad Taylor, Jordan Schultz on the 1s and 2s. This is Football Sunday on 1080 The Fan.
You might wonder, John Legend.
Sports Sunday with Rashad and Joe on Portland's Sports Leader, 1080 The Fan.
So the Oregon Ducks, did you know, I have a fun fact for you about their win last night. They are now the most winningest program in Big Ten history. They have a perfect winning percentage in the Big Ten. No other team can say, well, USC can say that as well. But the Ducks are undefeated in Big Ten play in their history. And of course, it's only right that they kick off their Big Ten stay, their new Big Ten home, playing Big Ten stalwart
Juggernaut.
UCLA, right? I will say that seeing some of these matchups to start the year in conference play, it has been just throwing me off. Where, like, I think it was last week, Stanford and Syracuse played, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of a weird matchup. I'm like, oh, that's a conference game. Last night, Stanford versus Clemson. Oh, that's a conference game. Like some of these matchups, seeing them on paper. Was it Utah, Arizona last night?
Yeah.
Conference game,
Conference
Big 12,
game.
baby.
In a different conference. So, I mean, it is, now that it's actually happening, it definitely is a weird one. I think, was it next week, College Game Day is going to Berkeley, I believe, for Miami at Cal, which is a conference game. I'd have to check if it's either at Berkeley or they're going to Coral Gables. But yeah, Miami, Cal, conference game. So, while last night is a conference game, it is not a Pac-12 conference game. Ducks versus UCLA, but the Ducks, besides basically one little snafu at the end of the first half, where if Tez Johnson just keeps his footing, then the final score and the first half go much, much different. But the Ducks with a very impressive, dominating victory over the UCLA Bruins.
Oh, excuse me. It wasn't close to start. Actually, it was only close to start. So, I mean, like, Ducks get an not early touchdown, but
Hey, guys, it was tied at one point.
yeah, Ducks get an early
0-0
touchdown.
when we kicked off.
Oh, yeah.
And then, they look kind of slow for the rest of the quarter. And then second quarter, they find their mojo and they pick it up. And that's really where the game was over. By the time they got to the second. And these are the kind of victories I think Duck fans want to see, right? May start a little slow, but you have a burst in the second quarter just before halftime, and you go into the half feeling confident. There are some of these games so far this season to where they may have been up going into the half, but like you just don't feel good about where this team is. And for being real, this was kind of we can call this a bit of they've already had one. I guess we can call the Oregon State game the same thing, but kind of a tune-up game for them. If they have a big game this week, and then obviously they go into the Friday night game, and you're feeling good about that. Like, I think now all of a sudden we're seeing a team. At least for me, I'm looking specifically at the offensive line and the defensive line. I'm not so much concerned with your skill positions. I'm not so concerned with Dylan Gabriel and how he's going to perform. His ball, when he throws it, looks a little weird at times, but he makes it happen, and he's pretty accurate. So I have to give it to him in that regard. You have a stud group of receivers, running backs. I'm not concerned about the offense outside of the offensive line. And yesterday they did their thing. And so if they can continue to grow and play the way they've been playing, the Ducks are a formidable team in this new Big 10 or Big 18 or whatever we're calling it now.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it was a very weird second half because it definitely got the vibes of dude, let's just get the F out of here. We're clearly going to win this game. So let's just run the ball, run the clock, get this over with, get the hell out of here and get back home with a W. But that first half, it was just clean. The offense was on point. The defense, I think Jordan mentioned this basically in the first segment. The only touchdown that was given up to UCLA was that pick six. They held the UCLA offense to just 6 points in the last night's game. The defensive line and Bryce Betcher, he has just been amazing since week one. The secondary really didn't get tested at all last night, and the D-line made sure of that. This is probably, I would say, their best win of the season. The Oregon State game was great, but they definitely turned it on a little bit later to separate themselves. So yeah, the third quarter, fourth quarter, a little weird, little clunky, just because, again, I think it was more so let's just get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
all right.
No
let's
mistakes
just,
at the end of the game.
one thing that, and I want to say that it was Jeff Schwartz, he tweeted this out. This is 11 drives, taking out kneel downs, end of game, end of first half. 11 drives since the new offensive line started the Beaver game. Touchdown, 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 field goal. Touchdown, 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 field goal, touchdown, touchdown.
Yeah.
That is the Oregon offense since they readjusted their offensive line, put Poncho at center, moved some things around, and it's been a completely different team as far as the offensive side of the ball over the last two games.
Well, and to start the game, it looked like Oregon kind of had scripted out more of a dink and dunk style, kind of saying, hey, you know what, this is what we know we can get from UCLA. We're just going to chunk it down the field. They put together a beautiful, 5.5-minute drive, I think. And you kind of thought that, all right, Oregon set the tone for the whole game from there. But I think There was a little bit of a herky-jerky feel at the end of the first half going into the second half, too, for Oregon. I felt like I don't think they should have scored 70, but I felt like they should have scored more points even beyond that interception for a pick six at the end of the first half by Dylan Gabriel. So, like, I liked Oregon's performance, but at the same time, this kind of now, I kind of now after the final scores read, it's like, is this more of like a prove it game again? Because they ran over Oregon State. They beat the hell out of them, and a lot of people expected them to do the same to UCLA, and they just didn't. And really quickly, shame on UCLA, shame on Deshaun Foster for punting it with 7 minutes to go, down 3 scores. Go for it on fourth down, you wussies. I can't stand it when you're down by so much in football and then you punt the ball away. You're conceding the loss. Try.
I mean,
attempt.
when you're down 3 touchdowns,
8 minutes to go.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things, and I feel you and what you were saying, and it feels like in the second half they went more conservative. Obviously, like Joe was kind of saying, man, let's just get out of here with the W, and that's kind of the offense we had been used to seeing from this Ducks team most of the year so far. It's just a really conservative. Don't make any mistakes. Let's just try to run. Let's just try to get out of this sticky situation. And I think that's what they did, which in my book was kind of smart. And I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the, it's the memories that we have of the old Ducks team and really running up the score and scoring, 60 something, 70 something points a game. But you lose by 3 touchdowns. That's a pretty significant win. That's a significant loss, depending on which side of the ball you're on. And pretty much UCLA got their ass kicked at the very beginning of the game. They couldn't produce any offense in the second half of the game, and they lost by 21 points. Like, they got their ass kicked. And so, no, it wasn't 56 points. And, the points that we're used to seeing, the Mariota-led, Ducks, or even the Vernon Adams-led Ducks, taking this team to like these crazy point totals. But at this point, I just want to see Oregon dominate games. And the first half was pretty dominant. Like, mind you, the one mistake made by Dylan Gabriel gave up a pick six, but outside of that, they don't give that up. UCLA scored 6 points in this game.
Yeah, I mean, what I want to see, and we've seen it the last couple of games and going forward, is just offensive and defensive dominating the line of scrimmage, being the better team at the point of attack, right there on offense and defense. And defense, the defensive line has been showing that the last couple of weeks. I mean, I am just getting more and more impressed by that specific unit as the weeks go by. I mean, Derek Harmon, Jordan Birch, like those two alone, they're absolute studs. So as long as defensive line is going to create a lot of problems for teams, and it's going to help out the rest of the defense. Coverage sacks,
absolutely,
where quarterbacks are running around trying to make a play happen, make a bad play, make a bad throw, gets tipped, ends up in a DB's hands. Bryce Betcher ends up with a pick like he does last night. Again, just can't mention him enough just because of how great he has been this season for the Ducks. But the offensive line, I mean, as we start getting into the rest of this Big Ten schedule and start playing better teams, that's where it's going to have to show out. I mean, Michigan State, we'll see with next week. It's a little bit better of a team than UCLA. But again, don't want to look at, and this is the tough part, is I feel like the Duck fans, not so much the team, but this area has just been licking their chops and waiting for that October 12th game. And it's just waiting for that matchup. And now that we're almost there, is that they can't look past Friday night.
No.
You're going to have Jonathan Smith coming in, who has a win against the Ducks on his record. And again, this Michigan State team, a lot to be desired. They're in the middle to lower pack of the Big Ten.
Those are the ones that get you.
But on a Friday night at Autzen, you're back at home. Michigan State's got to travel on the short week. You should be able to handle business. It should be another tune-up game. You should be able to win this by 3 touchdowns at least again before you end up welcoming in Ohio State for one of, if not the biggest games at Autzen in its history.
But Michigan State has played spoiler to Oregon in Autzen before.
I'd have to say
Haven't they?
Oregon beat Michigan State at Oregon. I remember that. I remember they had the back-to-back series like almost about 10 years ago. I hear Jordan tapping away on
Oh,
my
I'm trying to
keyboard.
get there.
Yeah, Michigan State. I remember the series that they had in 2013, 2014 because I was down at U of O, and I wanted to get tickets to that Michigan State game at Oregon, and I was pissed because I was at a wedding and I couldn't get.
Stupid.
I
wedding.
couldn't.
They better still be
Couldn't get
together.
to the student login in time to get a ticket. But Oregon, I remember because as far as a late interception goes, they were wearing the all yellow tops, yellow bottoms, black helmet, and they ended up sealing that win late. The next year, though, at Michigan State,
That is when Rashad is talking about Oregon did lose to Michigan State.
Okay, it was at Michigan State.
31 to
Okay.
28. Vernon Adams was the quarterback for Oregon. He threw 2 interceptions that day. And I'm trying to see. Yeah, Royce Freeman ran for a tutty, but let's see.
was that the Connor Cook Michigan State team?
That was the Connor Cook Michigan
Connor
State
Cook,
team.
heard that name in the stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oregon had a chance at the end to either tie it or take the lead because they were down by 10 and then scored a touchdown with about 3 minutes to go. Forced a punt by Michigan State, got the ball back with about a minute, and they turned it over on downs without a opportunity to score, even though they had one. So sucks. They couldn't get it done.
Yeah, but this will be the first time Michigan State is back at Autzen since that game that they won. I want to say, that was the 2013 season, I believe. 2013 or 2014.
Yeah, 2014. It
Gotcha.
was a home and away, whatever, back-to-back year, yeah.
So Jonathan Smith wearing green, coming back to Oregon, playing the Ducks one more time. Aiden Childs playing the Ducks one more time, starting quarterback for Michigan State, former Oregon State Beaver. I haven't seen a line for this game yet. I'm going to actually jump on old Vegas Insider real quick
Let's
to see if I can
go,
get
baby.
something pulled up. Because, I haven't seen – I mean, my guess is that Oregon probably opens this game as like a 20.5-point favorite is my guess.
Even after that, I mean, they were 24 over UCLA, did not cover that spread. I wonder if Vegas is going to shrink their spreads a little bit. Little shrinkage going on down in Eugene.
Boy, I am I mean, I don't know if this gets bet down, but it is opening at 26.5.
That's too much.
Oregon a 26.5-point favorite against Michigan State.
I just lost so much cash on Oregon covering the spread last night, and yet they still turn around 6 days later to say, "Oh yeah, they're going to win by 26.5."
And the
hell?
under hit last night,
did.
last night's game as well.
did.
Over under number set at 52.5 in the Oregon Michigan State game. So there's your betting angles to start the week. But I mean, it's already starting to get bet down. It opened at 26.5, and now on like DraftKings, FanDuel, it's down to 25.5. So people starting to lay the money on Michigan State to cover there.
Get into the cover money now because, I would assume that's going to be another 3 or 4 points down by the time we get to game time on Friday.
Let's take a look at the rest of the college landscape, especially the top 10. We had some teams go down. But as we start getting into the thick of the college football season, some teams start to separate themselves. And I want to ask you guys as well, what were you doing at 17 years old? Because I'm sure it was not nearly as cool as a certain player down in the South and what he's doing. We get to that next here on Football Sunday. But first, Jordan Schultz with SportsCenter Update.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, the Oregon Ducks getting the win on the road over UCLA in their first ever Big Ten matchup, 34-13 the final. Dylan Gabriel, 31 of 41 for 278 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did throw a pick 6 at the end of the first half. Didn't really mean much, though. Jordan James adding 103 yards on the ground with a tutty as well. Oregon turning around very quickly to face Michigan State back at Autzen Stadium on Friday. Oregon State off for this week. On to the NFL. No Seahawks game today. That is because they are on Monday night. They'll be in Detroit tomorrow to face off against the Lions. You can catch that right here on 1080 The Fan. Kickoff is at 5:15 p.m. Watching it on ABC and ESPN. And in baseball, the Mariners getting it done yesterday with a walk-off fielder's choice from Justin Turner. 7-6 the final scored. Leo Rivas slipping by a tag at home plate. Today will be their final regular season game. It's a 12-10 first pitch. Of course, the Mariners already eliminated from the playoffs, but Logan Gilbert will be taking the mound for the final start of the regular season. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. Sports Sunday with Rashad and Joe on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Hour number 2, we'll get into the NFL action, previewing what is to come this NFL Sunday. Also going over each of our biggest surprises and biggest disappointments of this early NFL season. Feel like we could do that.
Ginger!
And also, Papa's trying to win some brand new shoes, okay? I am on the app. I am trying to find some money opportunities, and we will do that in the second hour with Who Do You Love? There's a lot of interesting lines out there, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell I want to win and more likely lose money on. So we'll do that in hour number 2. But let's go through the top 10 here in the college football landscape, because there were a couple teams that took L's, a couple other teams that almost took L's. And I was saying earlier in the week to my buddy, I'm like, man, it kind of seems like the top 10, there's this group, this tier that is just separating themselves and showing that they are the upper echelon of college football. And 3 of those teams, well, 2 of them took a loss. One of them almost did. The one that almost took a loss was on Friday night, Miami barely escaping Virginia Tech. And that game was wild because Miami looked like they had the early momentum and they were about to run away with that thing 14-7 in the first quarter. And we all know that games are decided in the first quarter and there's no point to play the rest of the game, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Tale
as old as time, right? First quarter, whatever, just call it. We're done here. And then Virginia Tech came back. Cam Ward, 3 turnovers, but still doing Cam Ward-like things in that game. The little get rid of the ball, like shovel pass, push pass that he had to get rid of to his running back. Late, I believe that was actually to Cam McCormick. He had to get that to the 15-year veteran in college.
39-year-old Cam McCormick.
Oh, my God.
Not 29.
Bobby
but yeah.
Boucher out there, 32-year-old freshman.
It's still time for you guys, man.
Right, yeah.
I'm a little older. I'm a little past it, but you guys?
Well, there's a
Get out
guy, receiver at Arkansas that I want to say is like 29, and he's a freshman. because he went and played baseball out of high school.
You shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah,
you
man,
are
yes,
physically
yeah.
different. No.
Paul
you-
Blake, man, from Necessary Roughness. Yes, absolutely.
Well, there was like a 54-year-old dude playing on some team, like in like the community college ranks a few years ago. Why not let that happen? Come on, let's let Alabama sign one of their
ahead.
coaches, throw him in
Yes.
there at linebacker.
Go ahead, man. It's called maturity in the locker room. Some of these young teams need it.
Monte Harrison is his name, 29 years old, playing for the Razorbacks. But Miami, that was one of the teams early on in this season where I was just like, even in that Virginia Tech game, I was like, man, I can't wait until they play like actual competition because they are just rolling teams. And then Virginia Tech was like, not so fast, my friend. We're gonna play you guys pretty hard and almost get the win, but Miami ends up pulling it out late on Friday night. I was watching that game and also staying up to date on it over at Con because Con, shocker, does not have any TVs to watch NFL, unfortunately. Food was great, but would have been nice if I could get a big screen in there.
Just a little bit. Thank God for having apps on your phones and being able to pull up. I know you have YouTube TV.
Oh, yeah.
And I have, I think I have every app on my phone. That I
Give
can
me the
watch games
quad
from, so
screen, baby.
We're good.
Texas, they rolled Mississippi State. A little bit of a slow start for them in that, and then they end up pulling away in the second half. But really, the banger of the day, which the fact that it even turned into this close of a game was amazing. The Georgia-Alabama, what an absolute classic.
Oh yeah. Georgia.
28-0 Alabama was up in that
Georgia
one.
was dead in the water at first. And it was like, okay, this game is clearly over.
28-0, 30-7 at halftime because Alabama also gets a safety. Like whenever a team gets a safety at that point in the game with that score, you're just like, okay, this is over. we're done here. And then Georgia, I mean, all props to them. Kudos to them for coming back in that game because that's a spot where a lot of teams just roll over and die. And then they do not even put up a fighting chance. And they even had the lead late in that game. And then this is where I was wanting to ask or go in the segment before where what were you guys doing at 17 years old? I was just trying to get a catch in the Sherwood Bowman wing tee offense. That was my goal. I just want a catch. Please.
Yeah, like backing up center on the offensive line at my high school or backup catcher. Like, no, I was not an athletic like stud at 17. I was on my way out.
Rashad, no 75-yard touchdown receptions over at Western Oregon?
No 75-yard touchdowns anywhere, even in high school. So, it's just kind of one of those things. It's very, very much a what's it called, a utility guy. Oh, hey, man, you need me to play tight end for a
Taylor!
second? Yeah.
Get in there, D-line!
Yeah, get in there and hike the ball.
You got
It's
it,
like,
coach.
Yeah, I got you. Whatever we need.
It does make me feel good that like the one guy that got a pick six once at my high school is still probably talking about it to this day.
Oh, man.
And
I'm
that's
still
like the-
talking about my pick six freshman year. Read that screen pass perfectly. That's what we're watching film gets you, baby.
Sometimes you got to talk about the good plays. It's one of those things. Like
Liberty don't know what hit them.
Absolutely, man. These Cardinals have no idea what they're about to get.
Wait,
today. You're about to
freshman
kill
like
them.
on varsity or freshman on freshman football?
Oh, freshman football. It
Oh,
was a
come
freshman
on!
game, yeah. What I love about like 8th grade freshman football is that there was always a team, like you would watch film and every team seemingly had like one formation they only used for like one play. And they thought it was like, oh, yeah, no one's going to be able to sniff this out. Then they'd run it in the game, and you're like, okay, they're clearly running. Trick. Yeah, exactly. They're clearly running this play, and so you could just call it out and, yeah, exactly, snuff out exactly what's happening.
What's worse is when you can't stop it. They line up like that. It's like,
yeah, that
here
is
comes that
worse.
sweep, and then you just cannot catch the running back on the outside, and it's a wrap.
No, this play, it was against Liberty. They ran this stupid screenplay where they had 3 wide receivers where it was literally they were just in a line.
Oh,
Like one at the line of scrimmage, one dude behind him, and then a third receiver behind him. And that was the only play that they ran out of it was a screen pass. So I saw it as a corner. I'm like, oh, boy, I wonder what they're going to do here. I think it's going to be a really complicated route tree that they're running out of it. And, Joe Fish, he jumped the route and he took it to the house.
Look at you. You got that on tape?
Glory days,
yeah.
baby.
Smarter than me, dude. I couldn't.
Boys of
recognize
fall,
the play.
bitch.
You got that on tape?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
We didn't see that.
It's probably they probably got rid of it off the hard drive. I don't know if they need that film anymore.
I've told you all about my quarterback prowess, right?
Oh, really?
I literally tripped trying to hand the ball off to the running back in the one play that I've ever played quarterback.
Brucey from longest yard.
It was his fault, not mine, but
No,
I
I
was
shouldn't
still the
eat
one
that
that
popcorn.
looked like an idiot. He ran the wrong
Brucey's time.
effing direction.
Anyways, we are not 17-year-olds like Ryan Williams for Alabama,
No, we are
who
not.
Good
is. I mean, I don't know if he is the best receiver in college football, but damn, he's got to be like top 5 or something because it just seems like every game he has a huge touchdown, and then that last one for him to score the go-ahead touchdown with 2 minutes left. I mean, Chris Berman somewhere was at home watching that, just what? Because he hit it. It was like the slowest, most effective spin move I have seen along the sideline, but just gave him enough. Like, I think even the Georgia defender was like halted for a second and was like, "What the hell is it? Oh God!
What do I do?
Yeah. He just did. Oh God, he's gone. Yeah, unreal what we're seeing from Ryan Williams in Alabama. And tip of the cap, I don't want to give him credit because he beat Oregon multiple times during his tenure at Washington. But Kalen DeBoer, he's got Alabama undefeated, 4-0. Let a naysayer know. Jalen Milroe, now your leader in the Heisman odds.
And
As he
should he not be? You know, at this point, like considering the season he's having, considering what they've been able to do out there in Tuscaloosa, like I don't think any of us saw this happening this year. I mean, I think we all thought it would be a little bit of a slow start, right? New coach, you know, you lose a guy like Nick Saban, like how do you respond, you know, to that? And so far, you respond by getting arguably the best receiver in college, who, oh, by the way, he can't even vote yet or buy a pack of Swishers or cigarettes or anything yet because he's only 17. And he's in college right now for what probably will be the number 1 team in the country, you know.
Do you think this puts Alabama that they leapfrog Texas after this?
I think that it's
They have to.
still Alabama, unfortunately. And because it's Alabama and because you had the game you had against who you had it against, if they didn't play Georgia, it'd be different. I think if they'd have played any other team that wasn't Georgia or Ohio State or whatever, then it would be different. But the fact that they beat up on Georgia for most of the game until they came back at the end, like, hey, man, like, I think they're going to go number 1.
No, considering Jalen Milroe was near perfect, if not perfect, in like the first and second quarter. I think he started 7 of 7, 100 yards and a tutty, 40 yards rushing and a tutty. I mean, dude was like a video game stat to start the game and ended up with video game stats. Yeah, Heisman Trophy leader, that's for sure at this point.
Yeah, my prediction is Alabama ends the season before the playoff, either 1 or 2.
I think they're going to jump up to 2. I think they'll still keep Texas at number 1. You know, that game against Michigan in Ann Arbor, I think still speaks a lot about how good that team really
But
is.
Alex,
Arch.
Orji wasn't their quarterback. They literally had to move on to Alex Orji because that guy, whoever he was, isn't a quarterback either. You're telling me that Texas beating Michigan means more to people than Alabama beating Georgia? I think that's crazy.
Well, I
it's
think
nuts.
that also, you know, Alex Orji at quarterback for Michigan doesn't mean a whole lot because he can't throw for more than like 80 yards a game. So,
Exactly.
I mean, he can run the ball, yeah, but like the passing attack for Michigan isn't much better than it was against Texas. And again, that was just a dominating victory against Michigan. It was like there is clearly a separation in talent. Texas, again, they started slow against Mississippi State yesterday. Would I be surprised if they put Alabama at number 1? Not at all. But I just still think that Texas is undefeated. They're 5-0. How they've looked to start the year, they've been dominant.
And they got the young boy that we've been talking about for years since he was a sophomore, and he's performing out there in Arch Manning. So far,
The Black Manning, the way that he can run.
Oh, did you see his little touchdown celebration he had? Or it was like, oh, go ahead, Arch.
My God. And then also in this top 10, Ohio State, they beat Michigan State. Penn State and Illinois, that was a top 25 matchup. Illinois trying to be undefeated to start this year. They're driving to try and tie the game, and then Altmaier throws a late pick 6 to where Penn State is able to separate themselves 21-7. But our 2 top 10 losses, Utah. What the hell, man? The brother of Zach Wilson not able to get it done. I believe it's Isaac Wilson. Isaac Wilson, freshman quarterback. Oh my God, he looks so much like Zach Wilson. It's creepy.
Wait, so
Too bad
Cam
for that
Rising's
kid.
not there anymore?
He's not playing still.
What, because of that injury?
Yeah, he's still not playing.
I have not checked in on Utah football. Hold on. Utah's been ranked 10 without Cam Rising.
Yes.
Because I heard all this summer that, Cam Rising coming back, Utah, a new weaker conference that they're in, they're going to succeed. You've got to be kidding me.
pretty impressive win for Arizona to go into Utah at night. I mean,
Yeah.
winning that game in Utah, nighttime game, is never easy. And sure enough, Arizona does it. They start the Big 12 1-0, 23-10. But the biggest loss of the top 10 is Kentucky beating Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, literally weeks ago, Kentucky lost to South Carolina 31-6. People in Kentucky were calling it the worst loss of the Mark Stoops era. And then a week later, they almost beat Georgia. And then a couple weeks later after that, they now take down Ole Miss 20-17, and that is your first real big top 10 matchup of the year. I'm not counting Florida State losing to Georgia Tech because Florida State is absolute dog water.
Did you see what happened to them yesterday?
Just getting boat raced by SMU.
New conference opponent, and they are way better than you already, apparently.
Dear God.
What happened to Florida
They were
State?
number 10 to start the
happened?
season.
I remember Florida State, growing up, Florida State was one of those schools that were like, it's one of those traditional powerhouses. And now it's like, ever since Taggart took over, they've never recovered.
Well, and also they gave themselves a little bit of false hope with Mike Norvell. A couple of years ago, they had that 10-3 season. And listen, last year, Jordan Travis, they were able to have that undefeated year, but then they had an exodus of talent. A few guys went into the NFL and or transferred. And I mean, their offense with DJU is anemic. I mean, absolutely disgusting. My buddy earlier in the week, he was on the Florida State team total under 20.5, and that hit 14 points they scored yesterday. So I want to keep this going, though. We're up against the clock. I want to keep this top 25 conversation going because I want to get into this Ole Miss game a little bit because there was a decision late in the game from Lane Kiffin that I was just not a fan of. And then we'll take a look at the rest of the college football landscape because there's a few teams that are undefeated that we have never seen in our lifetime at this moment in time. And I want to get that, get to that because there is. Oh, I know who you're happy about. Yeah. Cash in the ticket now, baby.
Just saying.
We get to that next here. More college football on Football Sunday on 1080 The Fan.
Don't sweat the end of summer. Hey, it's Souk for Crunch Fitness. For as low as $9.99 a month, you're going to get access to free weights, state-of-the-art equipment, and miles of cardio that you'll fall for, pun intended. Plus,
On the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
So the biggest top 10 loss of the day yesterday goes to Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. And boy, did they Ole Miss the field goal at the end of the game. Saw that tweet a billion times yesterday. But Kentucky, they end up pulling out the win. But there was a decision at the end of the game from Ole Miss that just drove me crazy. And as it was happening, I was like, I'm not a fan of this. I don't know if I like this. So Ole Miss is driving to just tie the game to send it to overtime, right? Final score is 20-17. They have the ball. They're trying to get a tie in this one. I'd have to go back and look at their timeout situation, how many they had. But earlier in the drive, they have a 4th and 11 that they convert a long completion for, 42 yards. They completed it to get down to the Kentucky 34-yard line. And again, I see that they took a timeout earlier in the possession, but I don't know if it was their last one, if they still had one available. But then they get to a 4th and 7. So after that big completion, incompletion, also Jackson Dart, he took a sack at the 38-yard line, like that late in the game. At that point, I was like, literally after he makes an amazing pass, huge completion to convert the 4th down and get to Kentucky territory, it was like, what's the one thing you can't do? You're now basically in field goal territory. It's like, don't take a sack. He takes a sack. Ends up getting bailed out by a defensive offsides later in the possession. So now Kentucky is at the 31-yard line after a short completion. 31-yard line, 48 seconds left to go. All right? 31-yard line, 48 seconds left to go. You're on the right hash. You got a college kicker. So you're looking at a 48-yard field goal with 48 seconds left. In my mind, watching that go down, and the commentators are asking is like, all right, they're going to keep the offense out there and go for it on 4th and 7, or are they going to kick the field goal? Ole Miss, they run out the field goal team, and they kick the field goal. And I hated the decision. It's like, if you're an offensive player and you have just made this drive and converted to get down to this point in the game, and you still have 48 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, I'm not going for it right now.
Go for it. Go for the 4th down. Try and convert. Put the ball in Jackson Dart's hand and your offensive players' hands. The guys that mean the most, your playmakers, the guys that are working this entire game. To go for a field goal with that much time left on the clock, 48 yards, college kicker, right hash. Like, all of it was just lined up. I was like, I do not like this decision at all. And then sure enough, it's hindsight's 20/20. He misses, and I'm like, dude, see, that's why you don't do that. But I just thought that situation, it's not like they had 10 seconds left in the game, 5 seconds. Like, you just completed a 4th and 11 earlier in this drive as well. Jackson Dart is not a bad quarterback. Ole Miss, you have a good offense. I know it hasn't been clicking today exactly, and Kentucky's been playing well. But I would rather be able to sleep at night being like, we went for it. We tried to put our team in a better position to either, win the game. You have time to still maybe score a touchdown and take the lead, or even just give our kicker an easier opportunity than a 48-yard field goal to tie the game. Again, I was just not happy with that decision from Lane Kiffin at all. And, there's a lot of decisions that go into the game for winning and losing, but in that moment, I was not particularly happy. And I was like, man, if I'm an offensive player for Ole Miss, I'm pissed at that decision.
It's tough.
It's a tough decision, but to me, I was just in the moment. I was like, I don't like that.
You gotta have Dan Campbell sized balls to be able to go for it on 4th down in that situation. And obviously Lane Kiffin kind of doesn't, but I think it's important for us to not really poo-poo so much on Kentucky, because mind you, I don't know if we remember, but I think it was 3 weeks ago, Kentucky held Georgia to 13 points.
Yeah.
The entire game. They lost that game by 1 point. The score was 13-12, and we just sat and talked about how impressive Georgia was in a near comeback win against Alabama, right? So we know what Georgia offensively, defensively is able to do, and this Kentucky team held them to 13 points for the game. So it doesn't super shock me that they were able to go out and play really, really well and respond quarter after quarter against this Rebels team. Like, it doesn't really shock me. If you look at the there's just kind of the scoring drive overall. You know, you're down in the first quarter. You take the lead in the second. You're back down in the third. You take the lead back in the fourth. Like that entire game was just continuous responses from this offense, and they were able to put points on the board. And I think Lane Kiffin had an opportunity to, like you said, 40 some odd seconds left, man. You can make another play and see what's happening. But it goes to show, like, how much faith do you really have in your quarterback? How much faith do you have in your skill position players to be able to go out there and make a play in that position? It just kind of shows that I don't know if he really had that same type of confidence in his team that, fill in the name of the coach here would have, going into that situation. Because I don't know, with 40 seconds left, I think, and you said it was a fourth and long.
4th and 7.
I have to go. You don't have a choice. Like, I mean, we're going to lose anyway. Like, so if we don't go for it, if we miss it, we lose. If we go for it, there's a good chance that we convert. There's a great chance that we don't, but I think you have to try. So
But
I think I at least go out there and lay it down. And
it kills
try.
me too. It's like, all right, okay, clearly you have confidence in your kicker to make the game, but you also mentioned it. It's like, do you not have the confidence in your offensive players? And it's like, who do you want to hang your hat on? Like, we went out there with our offense trying to convert the 4th and 7, and 48, he should be making that. He should make that. If you are a college kicker for a top 10 team, you should be making that, yes. But also, it's a college kicker. He's trying to tie the game late in the game from 48 yards out on the right hash. Like, and he sure enough pulls it left. Like, that situation to me is just not ideal, where sending them out, I have the utmost confidence. I have more confidence in my offense to be able to convert a 4th and 7 versus being able to make that field goal. And then you live and die by you have to live with the decision regardless, but I can sleep at night knowing my players that I have that depend on us the most to win and be successful is our offensive players.
And I think in this situation,
not our kicker. It's not like week after week I'm going in, I'm like, hey, at least we got our kicker.
I think in this situation, it's. I mean, I don't know how much Lane was thinking about this, but it's also maybe protecting his team. A missed 48-yard field goal, like, that's relatively common. Yeah, like, I mean, 48 yards is
especially in
pretty
college.
far. So at least in that regard, I can I can take it on the chin. This was on me, guys. But if you send your quarterback out there 4th and 7, they don't compete right there. It's like, that's a blame that's going to go on the quarterback or go on the offensive line or whoever. If you're Lane Kiffin, you take this one on the chin. It was like this one was on me for this loss. So I don't know. It's a kind of a 50-50 type thing. So maybe they don't convert at all. Maybe they do. Maybe they make the field goal. Maybe they don't. In this case, they didn't. So it's a tough call to make if you're a coach. It just really depends on how gutsy you are in that situation.
All right, wrapped up our college football action. To preview next week, again, Oregon taking on Michigan State, and we get a future Pac-12 matchup between Oregon State and Colorado State tomorrow, which don't count out the Colorado State Rams because we just had a future Pac-12 matchup last night between Boise State and Washington State, and Boise State just whooped on the Cougs last night. I think it was 45-21 final score. Ashton Genty, my God. Absolute animal at running back.
Dude, it's not fair.
Dude is a stud.
It's not fair.
Can Washington State tackle? Apparently they can't.
No.
At least in the second half last night they could not, because I get that their running back's really good. Janty probably should be in the Heisman conversation, but I thought Washington State could actually tackle.
Yeah, it's rough. I can't wait to see Patrick Harris on Tuesday and see how he's feeling now after the last couple of weeks. I even said to him last week, I was like, speaking very confidently for a team that barely just got by San Jose State on Friday night, 54-52, but I digress. Get ready for some more college football. Beavs back in action tomorrow. Friday night football game for the Ducks and other top 25 matchups and hopefully some upsets to come. All right, hour number 2 coming out. We get into NFL action. Want to obviously preview some of the games, but I think I want to start biggest surprises, biggest disappointments as we are 3 weeks into the NFL season and just an hour away until 10 a.m. kickoff right here on Football Sunday on 1080 The Fan.
Hey, it's Suk, and let me tell you, there's a huge difference
Dude. Well, I guess you've got a point there.
This is Sports Sunday.
Hey, Skidmark Steve! Hey, dude. You still just hanging out playing Nintendo?
Well, if you must know, I'm in my second year of med school, and I'm training for the summer games. What are you two up to?
Just hanging out, playing Nintendo.
A recap of the sports week, a preview of today's games, and next week's big stories.
You think Shaq got rich playing in Orlando? Hardly. He made his fortune moving to LA. You know how much he makes now?
As much as he made playing in college?
What? No.
Now, here are Rashad Taylor and Joe Fisher.
What happened out there?
You know, it was a team effort, and I guess it took every player working together to lose this one.
Thanks, Doug. And so...
Hey,
want to do an interview with me? No.
With Sports Sunday on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Bob, in all my years of calling games, I don't think I've ever been this excited.
You're excited? Feel these nipples.
Hour number 2, Football Sunday, right here on 1080 The Fan. Joe Fisher, accompanied by the one, the only, the running Reb himself.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even get into that in the college football.
We don't need to because we're going to be here all year. Don't
Rashad
trip.
Taylor across the faux marble table. Jordan Schultz across the glass. Yeah, we didn't get into it in the last hour, but there's a handful of undefeated teams that we have never seen this late in the season be undefeated at the same time. Indiana, 5-0 for the first time since like 1967. Kurt Signetti's gotten the Hoosiers rolling.
How crazy is that your school, your program's never won 5 games in a row?
Well, just to start the season, yeah.
Just that's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like since the 60s, like that's insane.
Rutgers undefeated after their win against Washington to start Washington's Big Ten stint. They win 21-18 on Friday, and also I believe Army and Navy both undefeated to start the season, first time since like 1946 or something like that. Which they're coming off of a high. They're coming off of a big World War II victory. They come back home and they're ready to bust some ass on the football field.
That's great. Whoa,
they got momentum on their side.
No, and just imagine how patriotic of a game it would be if both Army and Navy are undefeated when they play each other.
Yeah, that'd be, dude.
That's going to be crazy.
Be a great
I think
game.
I think everybody would have to watch that game. That's a primetime game if that happens.
And then of course, your running Rebs, UNLV, especially after the week they just had with
amid controversy, it don't matter.
UNLV undefeated, maybe getting a top 25 nod.
You know what? The disrespect is real though. Like this happens on college football too. When I was playing the game, obviously starting my road to glory with UNLV, we went like 13-0 and still were unranked. And I'm like, this is
the
crap.
disrespect.
This is crap. And so to watch these guys sit here at 4-0 and be not even close to the rankings is disappointing. Come on, top 25.
Well, I will say that I don't know if UNLV is going to get the nod. The only top 20, the only like team in the 20s to lose yesterday was Oklahoma State, getting boat raced by Kansas State. So as far as odd team looking out.
Indiana also 5-0 now, and they are, I believe, right below Boise State at 26th or 27th. So they're probably going to go.
Indiana's probably going to get the nod.
Yeah. They would smack Indiana.
I don't know about that.
We would smack Indiana, bro.
In the AP Top 25, Washington State was 26th. Indiana was 27th. So Indiana probably going to get that bump. But UNLV, they got the 29th most votes, so they're right there, baby.
We're right there.
They are right there, licking their chops.
We're coming. Playoff or bust, baby.
Dude, that'd be hilarious.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
All right, NFL, let's go.
I'm with it.
You want some music?
Yes. Get me horned up with the bells.
Horny.
6 to noon, right away.
Wouldn't that suck if your nickname was Horny, by the way? Like Jeff Hornacek, former NBA player, coach. His nickname was literally, and they said it on the broadcast all the time, Horny with the 3. Just like, stop.
And those little shorts they used to wear.
Oh, my. Hey, Horny in the little shorts.
Yeah.
Is that a cup, or is he just excited?
Well, Horny's horny.
All right, from the both of you, I want to know, biggest surprises, biggest disappointments to start this NFL season.
I'll let you start, Jordan.
What a nice guy.
I'm like that.
What a
from
gent.
time to time.
I appreciate you. I would say that I didn't expect the 49ers to start 1-2 despite dealing with a couple of injuries. I'm not saying that I expect them not to make the playoffs. I still think they will. They're probably going to end up at 10-7, 11-6. That division is so weak. The Seahawks do lead the NL West, not NL, excuse me, the NFC West, I'm thinking baseball, with a 3-0 record. All the other teams are 1-2. So that division's pretty much wide open. A little bit of a surprise, though, that San Francisco losing 2 of those games. I do think Brock Purdy is good. I think he should be paid, and I'm kind of sick of people questioning him. As far as my biggest disappointment so far, got to go with the Ravens. You wonder, of course, one of their losses was by a toe, right? Isaiah Likely, if he would have been in the end zone, then they would have won that first regular season game. But they do sit at 1-2 at this point and are basically playing uphill already against the Bills. I did not think Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP, was going to be 1-2 to start this year. And with Derrick Henry, come on, I don't think anybody expected this to be the start for the Ravens this season.
And their one win, they almost gave it up at the end to my Cowboys.
Thank you. That's a good point, too.
Which is a classic Cowboys game. Get blown out early, come back, give the fans some faith that you think is going to that they think they might win this. They did that twice against the 49ers in the playoffs, and then they end up still losing. I'm surprised they didn't line up Zeke at center to end that game.
Yeah, have him snap the ball, just sack it. Yeah, but Baltimore not looking as good as they should. However, I do want to point out that I just named both teams a 1-2 team as one that was disappointing and then one that wasn't so disappointing. So I'm definitely looking at these guys hey, both of them will be in the playoffs at some point. I don't see them just wrecking their seasons, but not such a great start, that's for sure.
Rashad, biggest surprise, biggest disappointment to start this NFL season.
Biggest surprise of the season is the Minnesota Vikings, in my opinion.
Blow the horn.
Man, start 3 up, 3 down, right? So you start the season, with a game that nobody's really sure about, it can go either way, but then go out there and you beat up on, a playoff team in San Francisco. You don't beat up on them, but you win the game. And then the next week you go out there and really beat up on a Texans squad that I think a lot of people are really, really high on this year with C.J. Stroud and just getting in Stephon Diggs and everything. But really most impressed with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has been really kind of a whipping boy for the last, 5 years that he's been in the NFL. I was really, really high on Sam Darnold. Everybody was kind of like, why? And now I think all of a sudden, you're kind of seeing why. Now, maybe it's just early season. It's still warm outside type stuff. But, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's been sacked 8 times so far through the 3 games, but he did play San Francisco in one of those games, so they're going to get after you. So for now, the biggest surprise for me is the Minnesota Vikings. The biggest disappointment, without being a homer, I mean, the Patriots aren't great, but I would probably say the San Francisco 49ers as well, though. This is a team that should be in the running for another Super Bowl, and so far the season, they start the season 1-2. Long season, there's still 14 more games to be played, but this is not the way you expect a team that just participated in the Super Bowl to be playing to start the year. They look slow. They look like they don't really understand where they're supposed to be at certain times, and which is really weird when you have a roster that has every all-pro name that you can think of, so that's a little bit disappointing. Hopefully they're not able to figure it out. Hopefully this stays the trend for them for most of the year. But, as a hater of this team, it's really kind of disappointing to see how slow they've been to start, I guess.
Since you took the Vikings with your biggest surprise, which I agree with you, last week I was high on the Texans covering. They did not only not cover, but just got absolutely blown out of the U.S. Bank Stadium. Yeah. Just amazing performance by this Vikings defense last week. Got to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you would have told me 3 weeks ago, before the season, as the season's starting, that this Steelers team is going to be 3-0. I mean, I remember before the season started, we did the whole, is this the year that Mike Tomlin finishes below 500?
Not this year.
Well, they would have to go 5-9 the rest of the year for that to happen. They go up against the Colts today. They are favorites. It is in Indianapolis. Week 1, I bet against the Steelers, -4 Falcons to cover that. Not only did the Falcons not cover that, but the Steelers won that straight up. And for some reason, I did not learn my lesson because this is maybe a preview for Who Do You Love in the upcoming minutes because I think that this might be Colts' surprise game where they're able to cover their 2.5-point spread. But the Steelers, again, being 3-0, Justin Fields is the quarterback, simply
Crazy.
amazing. I cannot believe it. As far as biggest disappointment goes, I have to put it to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I had them winning the division to start the year. They need to have a somewhat, like, if they lose against the Texans today, I get it. But they at least have to be competitive. Trevor Lawrence has to show that he's up for the challenge as far as being one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterbacks, not in that division, but the conference. He got paid. He needs to step up his play. He needs to be better. And after last week, I mean, this could be a letdown spot for the Texans as well. And where the Jags, it's like they get blown out last week against the Bills. They're down bad right now. They need a win. But the way that game looked, it's like, of course they're going to lose to the Texans. I want to say right now that the betting line for that game, it's getting bet down. They started as getting bet up. They started as a 3.5-point dog. They're now at 5.5 points. So people betting on this game are just loving the Texans to be able to cover and win this game comfortably. So, I mean, biggest disappointment is definitely the Jags and Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson and that entire team. That offense needs to
start
step
your
up.
Season. Yeah, that's definitely
Titans are 0-3. We are not surprised by that.
No.
Will Levis, he does one insanely dumb thing a game. I wish that was a prop bet I could lay down on DraftKings. One dumb thing, one terrible decision by Will Levis per game. Can I get a 1.5? Betting on that as well.
I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take the over, man. And you talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers kind of has me thinking, man. I know we're against it. Who is the best coach in the league right now?
I mean, two of the best coaching jobs right now are Mike Tomlin and Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
As far as they're obviously their teams are undefeated, but as far as coming into the season, expectations, especially at the quarterback position and what they've been able to do. I mean, Kevin O'Connell right now is looking like the quarterback whisperer. I mean,
absolutely.
And now, granted, you said Vikings and Sam Darnold. I want to take it with a grain of salt because remember a few years ago when the Carolina Panthers had a great start to their season with Sam Darnold, and then they went and played Dallas, and then it was
fell off.
Yeah, and then they end up having to draft Bryce Young, I'm pretty sure, the next year.
Yeah.
So again, we'll see how this plays out for the Vikings, but the one thing that the Vikings have is a nasty defense. That defense flies around. And them at home it's a different animal.
Right.
That fan base, that stadium gets absolutely going for the Vikings at home, and they are scary to play there.
I don't think anybody wants to line up against the Vikings right now.
No.
They're playing some inspired football, which is super fun to watch.
I think they blitz more than any other team, or the second most blitzing team in the NFL are the Minnesota Vikings. Their defense is stout.
All right, let's take a look at some of the matchups here today in Week 4, and tomorrow as well. We get a doubleheader on Monday Night Football again.
Woo!
Which
Sorry, baby.
Usually, I'm not happy about doubleheaders on Monday night, but dear God, there is one matchup that is infinitely better than the other. So it's probably a good thing that we got two options for Monday night.
Yeah, I'll take them. Either way, they're going to get watched. So we'll see.
Let's preview and take a look at some of the matchups. What games are you most excited for? You can text in 503-864-6326 on the Vancouver Ford text line to let us know as well. We get to that next. Previewing this Week 4 Sunday matchups of the NFL season. Right now, Football Sunday, 1080 The Fan.
For many of us, guys, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, the crown's disappearing. Maybe hair loss has you feeling like your identity is lost altogether. Well, I've got good news. Hey, it's Souk. It's an
Portland Sports Leader, 1080 The Fan.
Just a little preview for Who Do You Love. I am absolutely loving the ticket that I just put in right now. All 4 of my bets on DraftKings. I am just licking my chops right now. I cannot wait.
I just put an anytime touchdown lottery pick in, so got like 10 picks on that one.
Y'all love losing y'all money, don't you?
What's $1?
Dude,
Yeah,
$1?
it's a lottery pick. Yeah, it's for $1, but I
4
couldn't.
quarters. It's parking somewhere.
What,
That's at
do you
least
even take
4 more quarters, and I get a pack of Swishers.
Do you even take quarters out of your like?
Switches are $2 now?
Oh, they're like $2.40, $2.50 now.
F that, 79 cents, please. Does
Gross.
anybody still
Give me
use
a white owl.
quarters for parking? I don't think the meters even take them anymore.
Yes, they do. Totally take change still.
Parking kitty, man.
Yeah.
My parking kitty app.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I told Rashad this earlier. I think it was during the break, but commentator curse from Al Michaels earlier this week.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, I could not believe it. I was so pissed. I took the Cowboys covering 5 against the Giants. They're up 5. I think it was 20-15 in the fourth quarter. Brandon Aubrey trots out for a 51-yard field goal, and Al Michaels goes on there and he's like, well, there's some people that are going to enjoy this field goal, if you know what I mean.
Kermit the Frog was doing commentary?
Yes, dude, I'm telling you. And I think there's a Family Guy joke about this, but
Yeah, Kermit the Frog here.
listen to Al
That's a good
Michaels on a broadcast and tell me he does not sound like Kermit the Frog sometimes. Like, there's some times where he sounds normal, but then there's other times he
Talks like Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, exactly. Imagine those 3 in a room.
Oh,
Patrick
you know,
Mahomes, Al Michaels,
And Kermit.
and Kermit. Yeah, I would
Pat-
I'd pay to see that.
Pat Mahomes and Tony Gwynn, the whitest sounding black people of all time.
Quite possibly. Right there.
But
Right there.
yeah, Al Michaels, he jumps on the mic, and this is after Brandon Aubrey hit a 60-yard field goal earlier in the game, and he goes, some people are going to like this field goal by Aubrey, if you know what I mean. I'm like, yeah, me, because then the Cowboys go up 8, the Giants are not going to score a touchdown, and then I win my money. And then sure enough, Brandon Aubrey misses his first 50-yard field goal of his career. Cowboys win by 5, and I get a push. Thanks, Al. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, brother.
It's kind of fascinating to see Al Michaels turn from like one of the most beloved football announcers ever into kind of curmudgeon-y old man. Stop
He
talking
is
about
hilarious.
my bets.
I think
Like,
it's funny. I think
Oh,
Al
dude.
Michaels is hilarious.
and I still love him.
And also, that game Thursday night, the Cowboys-Giants game, absolutely atrocious. I mean,
Did you watch it?
yeah,
It was
of
bad.
course
Of course
I
you
watched
did.
it.
Of course
but,
you did.
But
But
I
dude,
lost
I
money
wanted,
on Dak, and I'm mad about it.
But oh my God, that first half, I was like, man, I literally could have taken a nap and probably still had a better time. Like, penalties galore. Al was hilarious too, and because Kirk Herbstreit, I think, said something. He's like, gosh, I think that's like penalty number 9 on the Cowboys. He's like, I think it's 147 for the game so far.
Could
Like-
your Cowboys learn how to freaking score, by the way?
Oh, dude, Al gave 0 Fs in that game. Like some of the things he was saying.
You
It
can
was
tell
great.
he did not want to be at that game. I only watched a little bit of it, but it's like, man, this is nobody wants to watch the Giants play. Let's just go
Where's
ahead
my
and put that
paycheck?
out there. Watching the Giants play football is like watching your parents like make
I think
out
they're
or
using that
something
at,
like that.
at
It's just gross.
Guantanamo Bay or something like that. You know, like for terrorists, you know, as a sort of a torture technique. They just throw on Daniel Jones and Giants game tape, and they're just
Yeah.
like, now, okay, I can't take any more. Please, I'll admit to it.
The only good thing about watching New York is watching Malik Neighbors. Like, try to get him the ball as much as possible, and then just keep the camera on Malik Neighbors, like my player in college football or NFL or something.
All right, we got some NFL games. Which game is getting you most horned up, getting you worked up? Because they're what I love about the NFL is that you can make a case for just about every game and why it's important to watch, why you care about it. But as far as like, let's go one per time slot. I want one game in the 10 a.m. and then one game in the 1
like that.
p.m. as far as games that are getting you excited. In the 10 a.m. slot, this Vikings-Packers game.
Dang it, Joe.
I am very intrigued to see what happens. Jordan Love will be playing. He's going to be wearing a brace. This is in Lambeau. The Vikings are 3-0. As we said, nobody expecting that. The Packers 2-1. Probably the best team. Maybe not the best team in the division. Maybe second best, but we'll see as the season plays out. Very intrigued to see what happens there. that spread has closed in more and more. I want to say that the Vikings started off as like a 4.5-point dog to start the week. They are now only 2.5-point dogs to start this game. So the money has been coming in on the Vikings to cover. God, I just had it up here in a second.
Hate when
yeah, 4.5. They started as a 4.5-point underdog, and they're now at 2.5 there. But yeah, Vikings Packers in that 10 a.m. game. Definitely keeping my eyes on that.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it because that was also the game I was looking at. So I guess just to be different, I'll choose another one. That'd be Philadelphia visiting Tampa Bay.
Very intriguing.
Rematch
Tampa, of the playoff game last year.
Rematch of the playoff game. That's the big point. And Tampa coming off a loss last week. Philly coming off a big win against a team that my Saints, who were just kind of rolling for a little bit. And I think the Saints are also one of those teams I'm a little bit surprised with to start the season because they've been playing some pretty
almost
good
had
football.
the Eagles last week.
And they almost had it, but unfortunately didn't. But Baker Mayfield last year was a top 10 quarterback. Don't care what anybody says. And so far this year, he's got this team at 2-1. He can be somebody that really changes the way people feel about him and the way people see him as a leader, as a quarterback. So I think Philly is a 1-point favorite in this game. So that lets you know how slim the margin is or how evenly matched these teams are. Yes, I like that Tampa Bay hosting Philadelphia today.
Give me the Rams at Bears, 10 a.m. I want to see if Caleb Williams can actually not throw picks on the run, looking like just a total idiot running out of the pocket.
Very intriguing, too, because the Bears are a 3-point favorite in that
They
game.
are.
And then I just get the notification on my phone from Bleacher Report, Jay Glazer reporting that Caleb Williams among players to meet with Shane Waldron to express frustration on the offense. Listen, I don't know if there's a whole lot Shane Waldron can do when the offensive line is leaking like a sieve. So.
Yeah, and I don't know how Caleb Williams has the authority to go to Shane Waldron 3 games into his career and say, hey, I've got a problem with the offense.
Well, now all of a sudden, just Justin Fields is in one spot 3-0 and playing pretty good football at 3-0. Like, how much of that was his fault and how much of that was on the offensive line?
So I was saying in the offseason, again, there's still a lot of season left to determine that. But, again, I was saying, I was like, there's a lot more problems with this Chicago Bears offense than just the quarterback.
Maybe it's Eberflus.
It could be sexy bearded Eberflus.
Well, I would say them getting rid of Luke Getsy was a amazing decision because we can see now with Getsy at the Oakland Raiders and that offense how that looks. That was the right decision there. But 1 p.m. slot, there is basically one game, 2 games. But again, we'll see how it progresses. I mean, Chiefs-Chargers are always intriguing, especially with Herbert, but he's got that bum ankle, bum foot. We'll see what happens throughout that game. I'm hoping he's playing. I haven't seen the reports if it's been official that he is active for today's game. Would love to see him out there. But that Commanders-Cardinals game, that is the most intriguing 1 o'clock game to me.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
The
Commanders
it
is.
And Cardinals are the most interesting game in the second half of the day.
Yeah, I mean the Cardinals, they've looked pretty good to start the year. I know they lost to the Bills, but they were with them the entire way, blowing out the Rams like they did in week 2. And then just barely escaping with a loss against the Lions. I mean, that was a tough game at home last week. But they've looked pretty decent. I would love to see what this game looks like today with the Commanders, especially the Commanders coming off of a big win against the Bengals. Take the over. I will tell everyone to do that. Take the over, 48.5 in that one. There's gonna be points. Commanders defense is terrible. And I expect the Cardinals and Commanders both to score some points. So that's the game in the 1 o'clock. That is getting me excited there.
Baltimore and Buffalo at the 1 o'clock game.
That's Sunday Night Football.
Sunday night, yeah. So
awesome game for Sunday night.
So the second half of the day, but yeah, Baltimore. They had a good win. Sorry, Joe. Last week and a couple wins. Like every game they've played, they've been in towards the end. Obviously, the foot thing, week 1. So. But Baltimore could very well be sitting here 3-0, but they haven't been able to close a lot of times. I think this is a time for them to really be able to take advantage at home on Sunday night. This is going to be a huge game. I like Baltimore to win. They're already favored by 2.5. I think I will take Baltimore to win this game.
And then our Monday night matchups, we'll just run through them real quick. Again, last week I was saying how I was pissed how I don't like doubleheaders on Monday night. I just want one game to consume just so I can focus on that. Tomorrow we got Titans-Dolphins, and the Dolphins are going to actually start Tyler Huntley at quarterback against the Titans tomorrow. But
Tua's brain is scrambled eggs.
honestly, I would take Tua's brain at this point over Skylar Thompson at quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, roll Tua out there in a wheelchair.
No, don't do that. Call Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's call Tom
Brady.
Brady.
Would play? Broadcasting isn't going awesome.
I would rather take Tom Brady than Skylar Thompson at this
Brock
point.
Osweiler, he doing anything right now?
But we would only have to watch 45 minutes of the Titans-Dolphins game because, thank God, Seahawks-Lions kick off at 5:15, and that matchup is always a banger between the Seahawks and Lions. They've had some great games the last few years.
I'm pretty sure that the moment that Brian Callahan told Will Levis after he basically just on his knees threw that pick a couple of weeks ago saying, you've got to be better than that.
What the F are you doing?
Yeah, what the F are you doing? You've got to be better than that. I'm pretty sure that that moment will be cemented into my head for all time. Just the lip reading was so easy there, and it was just glorious that everybody got to see it.
And I don't want to do this. I know we're breaking, but we got a 3-0 for the Seahawks. Like, come on, man. Who expected them to be at this spot right now at the top of the NFC West? Nobody.
Not I.
Nobody.
Not I.
Weak division, though. Weak division.
And playing the Patriots and the Broncos, that will definitely help.
That'll help.
That will help. All right, let's take a break and then lose some money on the next segment. Well, I'm not going to lose money. I am determined. I am loving my betting ticket today. We're going undefeated. Who do you love? Next, but first, Jordan Schultz with a SportsCenter update.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, the Oregon Ducks beating the UCLA Bruins 34-13 in their first ever Big Ten Conference matchup. Dylan Gabriel throwing for 278 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did have a pick six at the end of the first half, but that was UCLA's only touchdown. Jordan James rushing for 103 yards and a tutty as well. Tez Johnson catching 121 yards on 11 receptions and 2 touchdowns through the air. No game for the Beavers this week. They are on a bye. And on to the NFL. No game for the Seattle Seahawks today. They're actually in the city of Detroit facing off against the Lions for Monday Night Football tomorrow night. Of course, you can catch all the action right here on 1080 The Fan. Kickoff set for 5:15 on ABC. And on to baseball, the Seattle Mariners did win last night. Their second to last game of the regular season was a walk-off by Justin Turner, a fielder's choice to score Leo Rivas, basically slipping by the tag to touch home plate. Seattle did not make the playoffs, but they will still take the field for their final regular season game and put Logan Gilbert on the bump today. First pitch at 12:10 p.m. on Root Sports. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan.
Portland Perks.
Head to Portland Perks for an amazing deal at Wildlife Safari. Admission for 2 for just $28.75. Wildlife Safari is just south of Roseburg and
fans and look back at last week to see if they still love their picks. It's time for Who Do You Love? Part of Sports Sunday on 1080 The Fan.
All right. Let's win some money, shall we?
We should-
Did you guys do this last
Some
week
of us
or
shall.
no?
We did. Do you remember the picks last week, Jordan? Did you write them down? I wrote them down.
You
but I
wrote
thought
them
you kept
down. I don't. Yeah, I was.
I wrote them
producing,
down, but
so.
I didn't keep them.
I mean, as soon as the show was over, Kobe right into the garbage can over here. Like, I thought that, we had them, but we can always go back and listen.
I was going to say,
and
we'll
figure
check the tape. And then what I can do is I'll be an honorable man, and I'll go through my NFL bets last Sunday.
out. Okay.
Because I did have a parlay that I know didn't hit, but I'll go through my single bets from last Sunday, and I will create a 3-game selection of what I did last week, and I will apply that to last week's Who Do You Love? Because I think I even said, I was like, I'll text you guys some picks, or I think I said it to Jordan earlier in the week. I was like, I'll send you some picks for Who Do You Love, and I never got around to it. So
That happens.
yeah, I'm looking at it. Okay, last week I took Texans to cover, wrong. Rams to cover, which by the skin of their teeth at the very end of that game against the 49ers. Oh my God. And then I took the Seahawks to cover against the Dolphins, which definitely hit there as well. So not bad, but yeah, the parlay did not go as well.
Players mess up, bro.
This week, what I am going with, I saw on the TV a little bit ago what the weather situation is like right now in New York. The Denver Broncos and New York Jets are playing, and that is going to hit the under.
It's going to be nasty.
They're not going to be able to throw the ball. It is a torrential downpour. It is ugly. The Broncos had a great week last week. Perfect spot for a letdown here after a big upset against the Buccaneers. The Jets defense is nasty. And their offense, it's not like their offense is world beaters this year either. The Jets, I don't think they've yet to score over 30 points in a single game. I think the most they've scored is like 24. And that was the game against the Patriots a couple weeks ago. So I'm taking the under in the Jets-Broncos this week of 39.5.
Good pick.
I'm going to go with Jacksonville visiting Houston today, one of the 10 a.m. games. Houston is favored by 5.5 in that game. I think that sounds about right considering where Jacksonville, is. And
that got bet up.
Yeah, I mean.
So people are with you.
Okay. So basically Jacksonville sucks, and they haven't scored over 20 in any of the 3 games they've played thus far. The over-under for this game is, 44.5? I think I'm taking the under just because I don't really feel that you have to really beat Jacksonville by a lot to be able to beat them. So I'm taking the under in that game.
Texans, Jags, under 44.5. That's what I'm hearing?
That's what you're hearing.
All right. Jordan.
Vegas obviously knows something I don't hear because I think this Minnesota-Green Bay line is pretty redonkulous at only 2.5 in Minnesota. Even though they're on the road, I get that, and road teams usually aren't favored, so they are 2.5-point underdogs. But said it last hour, they blitz just about as much or as much as any other team in the NFL. Their defense is tough against a quarterback in a boot today. I'm not saying Jordan Love's not good, but is he going to be 100%? Absolutely not. They're bringing him back way sooner than they thought that they would get him. I do think Minnesota covers on the road today, plus 2.5.
All right.
But that's a trap. Like, Vegas knows something I don't hear, and I'm a little upset, putting this down because, it's going to go the other way, and I'm going to see why in about 10 minutes.
Well, and that's why I am going Packers minus 2.5.
Yeah.
I feel like that it's one of those that, yes, the Vikings have looked amazing to start the year. Their defense is really good, but they are not at home. Again, I feel like it's been a great start for them, but the Packers are the better team. While they will have Jordan Love back, I think they're going to be very run heavy.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to try and dominate the line of scrimmage. And I feel like this is where the Packers finally, or the Vikings get their first loss, and the Packers, again, at home in Lambeau, showing them who the better team is. So I will take Packers minus 2.5 because, yeah, that's gotten bet down. That opened up at 4.5, I want to say, earlier in the week. So getting them at 2.5, tasty. I'll take that.
I guess I'm going to talk about a game you talked about a little earlier, Joe, and that's the Bears hosting the Rams today. The Bears are a 3-point favorite in that game. the Rams have been in most of their games. They've been close games, right? They had a 3-point loss. Let me look at their schedule.
The win last week that went down to the wire.
3-point win last week against the 49ers team. They had a big loss against the Cardinals, and then they lost by 6 against the Lions. I think you've got a Bears team that, they've got some things going on, but last week they were finally able to figure out how to score in this league. I think being a 3-point favorite at home in Chicago, I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Bears, that favored by 3 today.
Bears covering the 3, huh?
Yeah, I'm taking that.
That is one of those weird lines where, kind of like what Jordan says, it's like, what does Vegas know that we don't? Because, I mean, I understand the Rams are injured, but they still have McVay and Stafford, and I feel like that's always going to keep them in games. But, and with the Bears offense, how they look. Now, the Bears defense, very good.
Very good.
So,
Offense
again,
can't figure it out.
That's where I'm wondering one of those, if this is just a weird game where the Bears win like 17-10 and they have multiple turnovers and like a defensive touchdown or something like that. Kind of like their week 1 game against the Titans. Very odd line in that one. Jordan, pick number 2.
This is another risky pick right here, but the good old Arizona Cardinals and Washington Commanders, I'm looking at the total. It's very high, 48.5, but I'm assuming it's so high because you're looking at 2, run-first quarterbacks that have some wide receiver weapons to take advantage of in Jaden Daniels and Kyler Murray. The Cardinals' defense is not that great. I think they're like 24th or 25th in all of the NFL in defensive rankings. But Jaden Daniels is a rookie, right? I've seen good from him and I've seen bad from him. So I feel like there's a good chance today that the score doesn't even hit 40. I feel like both teams are going to have to play peak ball for that to happen. So I say under 48.5, Washington and Arizona today. That's a 1 o'clock game.
Under 48.5, Commanders and Cardinals. All right, the last one for me, deep cut. I'm going to deep cut. Seeing reports earlier in this week that the Bears are looking to make maybe a possible change at running back because DeAndre Swift is not even averaging 2 yards per run this season. Understandably, as I said earlier in the show, the Bears' offensive line is absolutely trash, but they're going to give Roschon Johnson an extended look today. And I see on the books that he is 31.5 rushing yards is his prop bet. So I'm going to take Roschon Johnson over 31.5. Deep cut on the album.
Oh, man. Well, just for betting's sake, I'm going to go ahead and go with the New England Patriots visiting the San Francisco 49ers today. 49ers are favored at 10 points, or a 10-point favorite. I'm definitely taking San Francisco needs a get-right game. These last couple of games, while they haven't lost by a lot, the Patriots have scored a total of 33 points in the last 3 games that they've played. San Francisco is capable of scoring a whole bunch of points.
They have a chance of scoring 33 in this game alone.
They have just today by itself. And so the line is, again, San Francisco favored by 10. I think they're probably going to win by a little bit more than 10 today.
Taking 49ers minus 10.
I am, yeah.
I love it. Love the balls. Love the balls.
Considering that the Jets ran all over them last week, I think San Francisco can pretty much have their way with this team.
And Jordan, last one to wrap it up.
I like the odds on this one. Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown, is at minus 140. I think minus 135 to minus 145. Most books is what I'm seeing. In the Eagles-Tampa Bay game in just about 10 minutes, I think Saquon is like one of the only guys that can consistently score for Philadelphia. It's like they went away from the tush push, so they're just handing it off to Saquon now. So Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown today.
And I'll shout out the Vancouver Ford texter. 4-leg parlay. Minnesota covering the 2.5. New Orleans covering the 2.5. Miami, Tennessee under 36.5. And Washington, Arizona over 50. I love all of that except the Minnesota plus 2.5 because I have the complete opposite. So I love 3 out of 4 of those bets. So for your sake of winning money, I hope it happens. But at the same time, I hope it does not. All right, we wrap the show up next here. Football Sunday. And we are 1 day away, folks. And you'll know what I mean next here. Football Sunday, 1080 The Fan.
Reynolds Defense Firm is voted best DUI defense firm in the Willamette Valley. This is McDaniel Reynolds with Reynolds.
Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
All right, that does it for this show. I said that we were 1 day away. We're actually 2 days away because tomorrow actually is media day for the Portland Trailblazers, and training camp starts on Tuesday.
Will Robert Williams be here or will he not? We'll see.
According to one Danny Meringue, absolutely crushing it right now at training camp. Over under 22.5 wins for the Portland Trailblazers. I know we're a couple weeks away from the start, but what are we doing?
Over.
For the sake of Cooper Flag, please under. Please under. Best chance possible, all right? For the love of God.
We got a big white guy already.
We need another big white guy.
Yeah, we got one of those.
We need 2. All right, that'll do it for this football Sunday. Everybody go win some money. Enjoy the 10 a.m., 1 p.m. games, all the NFL games, and we will catch you next Sunday at 9 a.m. this time. Thank God. For Rashad Taylor, thank you as always. Jordan Schultz, thank you as always. I'm Joe Fisher. Have a great Sunday afternoon. Peace.
Do you have $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000?